Joining us now on Sports Talk ATL, Big Low Country, back for the third time, and it has been a couple of weeks, but since that's happened, we've had Raheem Morris hired as the Falcons head coach. Let's start right there because I got to hear your opinions, man. What was your initial reaction? Because I know me and Alex, I think we might have been sitting right next to each other, and when it happened, that tweet hit my phone. I was like, whoa, like just kind of out of nowhere. Adam Schefter tweeted it out. My jaw kind of hit the floor. What was your initial reaction?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be completely honest with you, Chase. That whole week, it was like an emotional roller coaster. We're thinking we might get Jim Harbaugh. We think we might get Bill Belichick. And then whenever it comes through that Raheem Morris was going to be the next head coach for our Atlanta Falcons, I'll be completely honest with you. I was surprised. I was kind of confused. But after I sit down and thought about it, I was like, you know what? I think this might have been the best possible move for us. And the reason why I say that is, number one, he's familiar with some people that are already in the building, front office and player personnel alike. Number two, I feel like it's going to be a big difference as far as a culture change based off of what we had previously. If you just watch the press conference, it's like just the way that he speaks to the media. First of all, he lets the media finish asking questions, which is huge. So, I mean, with that being said, I feel like, just creating a more welcoming atmosphere and more welcoming culture. And, whenever you play with someone like that or play for someone like that as a player, you just want to get more done and you want to leave more out there on the field. So I think it was a really good hire.
Yeah, I don't think anybody, I've never seen a head coaching hire in the NFL met with such praise. Everybody, thumbs up on the hire, whether it was former coaches, players, and the fans who weren't for it. Once they saw the introductory press conference, now they're for it. It feels like everybody is behind Raheem Morris here. And I just want to ask you, one of the biggest things when it came to Raheem Morris's candidacy, what he brought to the table, everybody always said, he could bring an all-star staff. Everybody loves playing for him, coaching with him. And we saw it come to fruition immediately with Zach Robinson. Speak to that a little bit.
Man, that was a huge that was so a lot of people don't know, he came from PFL. So, it's one of those situations where, Sean McVay, he's seen the value in him. And I mean, we all know what Sean McVay has done over the last few years offensively. And I mean, that offense didn't miss a beat. You brought in new talent like a Kyron Williams and like a Nakua. And I mean, they just came in, plug and play. Because he was the passing game coordinator last year, and I mean, it was just, it was a thing of beauty. Now you think about the talent that we have now with a Drake London and with a Kyle Pitts and a Bijan Robinson. You're thinking, man, like you could really do something special. I really feel like that may have been the biggest hire personnel wise that we made this offseason with the Zach Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive coordinator hire was always going to be, I think Alex refers to it as the third biggest pillar, the second being the head coach and the first being the quarterback. Obviously, that still needs, we'll see how they address that, but it looks like they got the first two right. I'm really excited about Zach Robinson, and it's hard not to be at least excited and really like what Raheem Morris brings to the table based off what you saw at that press conference, because he just beams energy and transparency and directness. And it's like the polar opposite of what you saw from Arthur Smith. And a big reason why I believe Arthur Smith did get fired is because he basically had everyone around the entire city ready to, with pitchforks, ready to get his head on him. I mean, seriously, like no one, I mean, I've never seen so many Falcons fans actively cheer against the Falcons than I did
the Saints. For the Saints.
That was ugly work. That was ugly work. I never saw nothing like that before ever. But I mean, it's one of those things where, I mean, whenever you look at the comparisons between the two guys, I mean, not only in demeanor and personality, but we also look at how Raheem Morris is planning on running the team, right? He's looking at more of a delegation style of leadership, opposed to the sole proprietorship or dictatorship that Arthur Smith was trying to put in place. Running the offense and having his hands on everything. If you watch him on the sideline, you'll see him flipping back and forth between the offense and defensive lines, like just speaking to the different coordinators and the different personnel. But when you look at Raheem Morris, he's like, hey, I'm managing the team. The big decisions I'll make, but look, the offensive coordinator is going to call plays on offense. The defense coordinator is going to call plays on the defense. And I'm going to coach the coordinators and I'm going to coach the position coaches, which is, you know, how a lot of coaches do it. Only the real great ones, like the Andy Reids, like the Kyle Shanahans, like the Sean McVays, actually call those plays themselves. So, I mean, you know, that's another thing that really stuck out to me.
Yeah, I want to speak a little bit more to that because, you know, I do think Arthur Smith gets a little bit of a bad rap because we know people personally who played for the Falcons. They have nothing but great things to say about him. Jonnu Smith, all former players, Calais Campbell, they have great things to say about Arthur Smith. By all accounts, he's a great man, a great coach. The fact is it just didn't work out because this is a results-oriented business. And to Chase's point, the fact is the media is kind of a mouthpiece for the fan base. That's the only way the fans are heard and kind of get their points across and you know, just kind of vent to a certain extent. And when Arthur Smith is kind of, you know, nonchalant, very short, you know, kind of thumbs his nose at the reporters or questions saying, you know, or even fans that, you know, you guys don't know anything. You're going to immediately create an enemy when you start losing. And I think, you know, what my question to you is basically, it's the exact opposite with Raheem Morris, where everybody wants him to succeed. They're going to give him time, but how much time? Because Arthur Blank, this roster's ready to win. Arthur Blank wants to win. What kind of leash does Raheem Morris have? Obviously, it would take an absolutely catastrophic 2024 season for us to be in the same place next year. I don't expect that to happen. But speak to that. What kind of leash does he have? He already said the NFC South is the goal. He said it in clear English. I love that. What do you think about that?
Hey, I'm going to tell you, Alex, he didn't only say that the NFC South is the goal, but he said that his, you know, the goal, and one thing that a lot of people don't say in their introductory press conference is to win a Super Bowl, is to, you know, have Arthur Blank hold the championship up on Peachtree City in front of the city of Atlanta. Right. So, but I mean, I'm thinking, so let's say they don't make it to the playoffs in 2024. And if you don't make it to the playoffs by 2025 with the salary cap freedom that you have, with the draft capital that you have, you just might not be the guy. You know, it might be a rinse and repeat kind of a situation. So, I mean, yeah, I'll give him 2 years if he doesn't make it to the playoffs in 2 years. I think you can choose your own quarterback. You know, you have the offensive talent. You have who a lot of people are saying is one of the best young offensive coordinators in the league. And, you know, Ricky Lake, he very experienced previous head coach. I mean, you got to get it done.
Yeah, and on top of that, you know, the NFC South's wide open. We obviously know about the Saints salary cap turmoil. Nobody believes in Dennis Allen in New Orleans, let alone across the league. The Panthers are undergoing another regime change. The Buccaneers, we all love the Buccaneers, especially if they get Baker Mayfield back. I love the Buccaneers franchise, head coach, quarterback. I love what they got going on there. But they're not world beaters by any means. Like, they're not anything to, you know, get nervous about. Yeah, so to that point, there should be no excuse to not win the NFC South. But with that being said, Raheem Morris, Bill Belichick, Jesus Christ himself couldn't have coached a Desmond Ridder quarterback football team to the playoffs. It's got to be, I've said it time and time again, it doesn't matter who the offense coordinator is. It doesn't matter who the head coach is. You got to fix the quarterback position.
Yeah. And you know, it's just like you were saying earlier, Alex. Like, you know, Archie Smith, he kind of gets a bad rap. I feel like, first of all, Archie Smith's going to do pretty good in Pittsburgh, you know, as a coordinator. Yeah, that's a good move for him. But I feel like Desmond Ridder kind of gets a bad rap as well. You know, it seems like, especially going towards the end of the season, that the Falcons were kind of, you know, who sung the song "Free Falling"? Seems like they were just kind of free falling, you know, the last 2 or 3 weeks. But, you know, I mean, moving forward, it's like, I feel like Desmond Ridder, I feel like there's something there. There's some sort of potential there.
Don't do this to me.
But,
oh my God.
You know, sometimes it's just one of those situations, Alex, where it's like, I feel like there was potential there. But, I mean, moving forward, I think the time just may be done in Atlanta. It might be best for him to go somewhere else and get it done.
I'm with Alex there. I don't think there's any way you can go into the season with Desmond Ridder, the starting quarterback.
Oh no, I can't.
I do think though, as a backup though,
I like him as a backup.
I mean, he's a cheap backup. He knows the system. He knows the players. He knows the
great teammate, great guy by all accounts. Like a great teammate, great football player, a guy you want in the locker room. Fact of the matter is he led the league in red zone turnovers, and I can't get over that.
I want to ask you one last question before we got to wrap this up. Staying on the quarterback track, you get your choice. What is your dream? Now we've moved on. This is going to be the focus of the offseason. What is your dream quarterback choice? Just imagine everyone outside of, let's say, Caleb Williams is available. Who would your dream be?
Well, there's this guy down there in the Bayou. He's a Bayou Bengal named Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I know him very well.
Hey, well, tell him if he does come to the city, tell him to come party with Big Low. I'll make sure that he's doing good. But let's bring in Jaden Daniels. That'll take this offense to a whole nother level. Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you there. In any of those top three quarterbacks, I'm afraid it's going to go quarterback. But I'm right there with you. If it's Drake May or Caleb Williams or any of those teams gets cold feet at the altar with one of those guys, I mean, please, Falcons, do whatever it takes. I mean, you got the draft capital, you got the cap space. Rookie quarterbacks in this league are an absolute cheat code. And I don't care if it's Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Caleb Williams. Give me one of those guys. Let's get out of this QB purgatory once and for all. Yes. I think that's the biggest thing. It sucks not having a quarterback. You take Matt Ryan for granted when you have him for 15 years. I mean, a lot of people were complaining. Now these last 4 seasons or whatever have been absolutely hell. Big Low, thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, brother. I'll take it easy.
Yeah. Yes, sir.